Welcome back to the Dinar Chronicle, where we bring you the most critical updates, real-time developments, and deep-dive analysis regarding the Iraqi dinar and global currency shifts. If you're holding IQD or watching the revaluation movement closely, this is one episode you can't afford to miss. In today's breaking report, we're uncovering the latest intel on how to exchange every Iraqi dinar note the right way, what's being said behind closed doors, how banking institutions are positioning themselves, and what this could mean for every IQD holder in the days and weeks ahead. There has been a noticeable uptick in chatter coming from private banking circles, with trusted insiders confirming that both US-based and international banks have received internal memos flagging IQD-related transactions. While not publicly acknowledged yet, these communications suggest heightened awareness, and in some cases, direct procedural instructions for when the IQD becomes active for exchange at a new, internationally recognized rate. What we're hearing right now is that selected Tier 1 and Tier 2 banks in the US and the Gulf region are quietly updating software parameters and internal training documents specifically for IQD handling. These updates include rate entry fields, currency validation protocols, and systems for flagging counterfeit or obsolete note versions. Now, let's be very clear. This doesn't mean the revaluation is officially live. However, it strongly implies that the mechanisms needed to support a live rate exchange are being prepared. One of the most significant pieces of intel we've received in the last 72 hours is confirmation from multiple sources that every denomination of the Iraqi dinar, from the 250 dinar note all the way to the 25,000 dinar note, will be honored, provided the notes are authentic and undamaged. This comes in contrast to previous speculation that lower denominations might be phased out or exchanged at tiered rates. But as of now, our contacts in regional banking hubs, including in Dubai, Doha, and New York, are aligned in their messaging. Every note counts, every note is valid, and the rate applied will be uniform across denominations. One key piece of advice from currency attorneys and international exchange specialists is to ensure that all your notes are clean, well-preserved, and properly documented. This means no torn, heavily marked, or defaced currency. If you're holding significant amounts of IQD, now is the time to begin scanning and archiving your holdings, storing them in fireproof containers, and even seeking out notarized affidavits of ownership, particularly if you acquired notes through private brokers or secondary sources over the past decade. In terms of procedure, here's what we know so far from reliable financial desk managers. Once the rate goes live, exchange windows will be staggered. This means high net worth clients and individuals flagged as early redeemers may be contacted first, potentially through previously registered portals or special access systems. These could include redemption center appointments, private exchange contracts, or invitations to participate in negotiated rates based on volume or pre-qualified status. If you're not part of those programs, don't panic. Public exchanges are expected to follow shortly thereafter, and banks will be operating on extended hours to accommodate demand, likely including weekend operations and preset appointment systems through online booking tools or designated call centers. Another crucial point to emphasize is the authentication process. Banks will be using a combination of UV scanners, serial tracking software, and currency validation algorithms to ensure every note deposited is genuine. This is especially important because, as of 2020, the Iraqi Central Bank began issuing updated notes with enhanced security features, including microtext, raised ink, and advanced watermark systems. If you're holding older print versions of IQD notes, they may still be accepted, but expect a more thorough review before they are cleared for deposit. In light of these developments, several major financial institutions are reportedly testing their internal networks with simulated exchange scenarios. These are often done in controlled environments to prepare staff, IT systems, and legal departments for what could be one of the largest foreign currency conversions in the last 20 years. Reports suggest that banks such as JP Chase, Citibank, and HSBC are involved in these dry-run preparations, not because they expect the event tomorrow, but because they understand the volatility and velocity with which these events can move once triggered. The role of redemption centers remains somewhat opaque, but what we do know is that they are being set up with enhanced privacy protocols and security layers. Clients exchanging IQD at these centers may be required to sign NDAs, provide biometric identification, and go through structured onboarding sessions with compliance officers. This indicates a level of control not typically seen in public currency exchanges and suggests a very intentional rollout strategy from higher authorities, possibly involving coordination between the U.S. Treasury, IMF, and other multinational financial oversight bodies. There's also strong speculation from government-linked sources that the QFS, or quantum financial system, may play a role in the post-exchange environment. While we cannot verify QFS integration at this stage, multiple sources have confirmed that secure ledger-based technology will be used to document high-volume transactions. This means your exchanged funds may initially be held in digital escrow until all compliance boxes are checked and cleared, adding another layer of verification before liquidity hits your account. Let's address the question on everyone's mind. What is the expected exchange rate? While nothing has been publicly confirmed by the Central Bank of Iraq, several credible intel providers, including Frank 26 and Militiaman, have pointed to a rate in the mid-$4 to low $5 range. The most repeated figure in the last 48 hours is $5.20. If true, this would represent a seismic revaluation, one that would instantly transform the financial standing of millions of IQD holders worldwide. Again, this figure is speculative, but what gives it weight is the consistency across multiple, unrelated intel sources citing the same ballpark figure. Now, let's talk about taxation. At this stage, no official tax framework has been released for IQD exchanges in the US or internationally. However, most tax professionals recommend treating any gains as capital gains, subject to federal and possibly state taxation depending on your location and how long you've held the currency. For larger exchanges, you may be advised to establish a trust, LLC, or structured payout plan to mitigate your exposure. It's strongly recommended that IQD holders seek qualified tax advice before the exchange to avoid post-exchange penalties or audit flags. Another concern being raised by the community is the potential for exchange scams. As this story gains momentum, scammers are increasingly active, posing as bank officials, sending fake emails promising early redemption appointments, and even setting up fraudulent websites. Be cautious. Always verify links. Never share personal details with unknown contacts. And if in doubt, contact your local bank directly using official channels. Redemption will be done through formal, traceable systems, not backdoor deals or social media connections. In terms of geopolitical impact, a revalued Iraqi dinar would have sweeping implications not just for Iraq, but for the entire Middle East. It could signal restored economic sovereignty for Iraq, increased foreign direct investment, and a potential end to dependence on neighboring currencies like the US dollar or Iranian rial. For the US, it would mark a financial shift of historic proportions, rebalancing portfolios and potentially influencing interest rate movements, central bank strategies, and digital currency pilot programs already underway by the Federal Reserve. What's also interesting is the reported involvement of private